It's the first day of the week, the last day of the month, and 36 days until the general elections. Hello and welcome to Joy News Interactive. We're live on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, as well as Go TV channel 144 and DSTV channel 421. Plus, we're streaming right now live on Facebook, so you can check us out and start sending in your messages. You know, it's an interactive program, so we can't do this without our social media platforms. Find us on WhatsApp 0560800000 and Facebook and Twitter. It's Joy News on TV and at JN Interactive GH. My name is Jennifer Ikwamwa. Let's get this show on the road. Now, you know, as I mentioned, we've got about 36 days until the elections, but instead of just worrying only about the elections, electoral procedures, and all the court cases surrounding them, let's do something which has become quite recurrent in the media over the past couple of months. The psychiatric nurses saga. They have been fighting for their finances to take care of their logistical needs at the hospitals, particularly at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. And they have also been threatening to lay down their tools and leave their inmates to fend for themselves. Finally, the rope ran out. Their patience has run thin, and the Accra Psychiatric Hospital nurses are currently on an indefinite strike. They have left their patients. It's only doctors who are currently on post right now at the hospital. Now, the implications for such an action as this, not only on the inmates, not only on the doctors still at post, but also on ordinary citizens, you and I, are rather mind-boggling. But we spoke to one of the spokespersons from the Accra Psychiatric Hospital earlier this morning. He was on the AM show, and he shared all the frustrations and the problems that they go through with Roland Walker. Take a look.
As I sit here and talk with you, see my lip, at least you know me. Your lip was not like this.
No, it was not.
In the line of duty, I have to receive this. A heavy blow, I nearly lost a tooth. And in all of this, I still, as I speak with you, I go to 37 eye department to take off my eye. And everybody who has had one attack or the other would go to the hospital and bear the cost by himself or herself. There are instances you have to dip your hand in your own pocket to buy food or buy medication for a patient. Because in the moment you realize, oh, this patient is hungry, and for that matter, becoming aggressive. So if you get this patient food, you have peace of mind to take care of the others. Why wouldn't you do it and have your peace of mind? There are other elderly patients in the wards that are on antihypertensive medications. They are all running out, and we know the complications of that, strokes and what have you. And sometimes you don't want them to get into that state. And for that matter, you still dip your hand in your pocket, go buy medications for them.
Because you love your job and you care for patients.
With mental health, the perception out there is that when you go and smoke, when you go and drink, that is the only time you'll be brought to there. But it's never so. It's just an iota of the causes.
Well, true. I know that.
Sure. So you can break down today, I can break down today. Somebody has to be there to take care of them. It's very unfortunate we are where we are today. And a colleague in the line of duty lost an eye. It took almost about 6 years or so. Even the workman compensation, the person even didn't receive it before the person passed on. So where we've gotten to now, all we are saying is life is precious. We have families to take care of. And the working environment has become so dangerous now. Even our condition of service states that if a nurse in the line of duty, you realize you are encountering danger from the workplace, report to your immediate supervisor and run away. And this issue is not just today. It's been persisting virtually every year. And each time we run short of this medication, that is when the attacks become so rampant, some of us get injured. So in the line of duty, virtually almost every year, I get an attack. Seriously. And it's happening all over.
Now, particularly for those of us very much familiar with psychiatry, we also know that for many of the times, it's not as if you don't report the issues, but you report the issues to your administrators.
With this current issue, we've been writing, meeting management, even meeting with the mental health authority and all that. But each time we meet, all we hear is that they are meeting with the Ministry of Health and they are doing their best to get...
And you heard one of the spokespeople from the Accra Psychiatric Nurses Group who was sharing some of, the troubles that they go through at the hospital simply because they do not have the logistics, as in the medicine, as in their basic hospital needs to take care of the mentally unstable patients who are over there and who are becoming gradually more and more violent towards them, sharing his experience of his swollen lip. We've also heard stories of a nurse who was stabbed in the stomach. She had also recently had a cesarean section, so it tore open her stitches. All kinds of horror stories from these heroic nurses who have finally decided that enough is enough, and they're embarking on a sit-down strike until these issues are resolved. Some messages coming in on WhatsApp. Ora writing, "It's good they are on strike. We leave our needs and deal with our wants. We must set our priorities right as a country." And Kenneth Kofi Aqua writing, "I think the situation about the psychiatric hospital is very bad. If the nurses even buy items for the patients, that means that things are very dangerous now." And after all this, politicians are sharing their campaign messages with us. God bless Ghana. So please send us your messages as well, 0560800000. And on Facebook, we're Joy News on TV. Speaking of which, here's a couple of messages that have already come in concerning the issue. Nana Obo Busumpim writing, "Well, in other news, the president is sharing freebies." Well, you can't prove that. That's just your opinion. But should the psychiatric workers continue to suffer just because somebody says there's no money? For how long will innocent people suffer because somebody fails to do what is right? The stories emanating from the clinics are devastating, and urgent moves should be considered. Salom Kwashiga also writing, "Who watches the watchman? They also need clinical psychologists to attend to them because of the daily stresses they go through." So some messages coming in on WhatsApp and on Facebook as well. Let me read a couple of your WhatsApp messages. Yakubu writing, "So when would our leaders realize that essential services such as that of the nurses are not to be toyed with? The obliviousness of our leaders to the plight of workers in Ghana here is becoming worrying." And here is ex-Panana from Tema says, "Well, I guess they should employ some able-bodied men to take care of those in bad situations for the nurses to take care." Okay, I didn't quite get that. The able-bodied men are to help the nurses or to help the patients? If you can explain further, I'll be very, very grateful. Kobe Richard says, "Well, it's good they have done that because it's not easy to deal with people with mental issues. Something needs to be done for them." And that's Kobe Richards from Kofridia. More messages coming in on the Accra psychiatric nurses who are currently or who have currently laid down their tools because they fear for their lives from their patients who do not have, the required medication in order to help control their various psychoses. Now, in other news this morning, a bride ran out of the wedding hall or the wedding church or the ceremony because she was not happy with her groom. And here's the story. "I made a mistake." She runs out of the wedding reception. See, there she is running barefoot. In desperation, they tried to catch her. And this happened in Nigeria, in the Delta State. On Saturday, the reception ended halfway because the bride realized that she was no longer interested in her few hours old marriage. Well, I guess she's trying to compete with Kim Kardashian, who also divorced her husband after 72 hours. So we're going to take a couple of your messages and comments on the few hours bride who ran out halfway. Faustina saying, "But she's already married, so what's her problem? Take your ring before she runs away with it." No marriage, no ring. Shaking my head. They watch movies and then they turn to practice to see it if it happens in real life. LOL. Ike Kwejo Asari writing, "I hope this is not another Nollywood shot, but in real terms, I would apologize to my guest and allow her to go. Nothing will make a woman stay if she's not in love. It may be disappointing and heartbreaking, but it's better this way than to live the rest of your life being bitter. You wish work will not come close to you because you don't want to go home. Monica Hogue also writing, this is the picture we need at the filling station. Okay, that's a personal conversation you're having there. Prince Nuruddin says, I can't think far. Maybe she needs psychological attention. Kenneth Boateng also laughing. Maybe she feels shy in church, so I will marry her by the roadside. By the roadside? Well, okay. If that roadside happens to be a designated and a place for official wedding ceremonies, then carry on. Why not? Seth Nimoy says, too bad. I will pray to God. I'll pray for God to give me all that it takes to endure. It's a very difficult moment. John Apam, a bitter pill though. I'd apologize to the guest and also wish her well. And Gabriel also writing, just replace her, because nothing can stop her from going. Ali, I can't think madness. And Thomas Kweku says, I will just let her go. So you can keep on sending in your messages and your comments on 05608000 and on Joy News on TV. Joy News Interactive takes a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Joy News Interactive. We're still live on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Plus, we're streaming live on Facebook as well as DSTV and on the Go TV channels. Now, we've been talking about the runaway bride. Okay, well, she waited to get married, and then at the reception, she said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And then she ran out. Happened in the Delta State in Nigeria. Plus, we are looking at the disturbing situation at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital this morning. The nurses have officially laid down their tools. They say they are refusing to work in that environment because it's dangerous to their livelihoods right now. And this is because the inmates there do not have the required amount of medication. And this is because they are not being financed to buy the correct amounts of medication to take care of the patients, which thus makes the patients behave irrationally and puts the nurses in, dangerous situations. So that's the developing situation right now at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. So do stay on the Joy News channel for more updates on what this means, not only for the nurses who are not at post, but also for the doctors who are currently doing a yeoman's job at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, and for the inmates there, the patients, and for you and I, the citizens. What does it mean for us as well? A couple of your messages coming in right now. Let's see. On the runaway bride, what's the reason? Could it be that she got to know it at the moment, or it's something she knows already but now has to take the decision there? And Awal Chambers writing, this is a lesson to those unmarried to take safety precautions before going into marriage. On the nurses, Stephen N.T. writing, government should try to provide the psychiatric hospital with their needs because mental illness could happen to anybody irrespective of their position. Another one asking a government to go to the aid of the psychiatric hospital pronto. On the runaway bride, wow, this is wow. Can the woman be charged with causing loss to the man? Can she? Maybe emotional, psychological trauma. She's not a bad idea. Could prevent other runaway brides from taking the plunge before running out of the reception. Richard in Ho says, we cannot meet the needs of the existing psychiatric hospital, but we are promising to add to because that's what wins the votes. It's high time we rose up and changed the face of leadership in this country. Issues of health are not to be toyed with. And so those are some of your messages on WhatsApp, and I'll gladly read all the others. But moving on to other election issues this morning, we have a little under 2 months before we go to the polls. And there have been a lot of controversies this election period. Court case upon court case, victories and defeats. And there's even one currently right now in court. Independent candidate Jacob Osei-Yeboah versus the EC. Hassan Ayariga's case has been adjourned till tomorrow. He was also contesting his disqualification. But all that put aside, Right now, as of right now, the EC is unable to print the ballot papers for the presidential candidates. For the parliamentary candidates, yes, that's a work in progress. But for the presidential ones, no, nothing has been done. And it was, a question that was raised by the award-winning court reporter Mabel Akubanase on her Facebook page. So that got us thinking here, the Joy News Interactive team. Is this a cause for concern, or should we just, wait for everything to settle down and then the EC will get to business? A couple of your messages on Facebook concerning this, and here is a composite of the presidential ballot paper from a couple of years ago. Prince Nuruddin says, well, in fact, the EC must be up and doing because this time around we are seriously yelling for change. Mami Ikia writing, I've been a member of parliament for 12 years, cabinet minister for 7, and became attorney general for years, but I couldn't provide common water for my own people. And she's just writing quite a bit on one of the parliamentary or the presidential candidates. David Inti saying, well, there's undeniably a lot of political change campaigners in Ghana presently, all calling for change. Bonti Benjamin saying, yes, especially looking at the closeness of the polls, we need it to educate our supporters. Donald writing, yes, we'll see how popular your candidate is to win the 7-7 polls. Okay, that's completely something different. And Esther Jemfi says, oh yes, it is a cause for concern. So more of your comments there on Facebook concerning, the presidential ballot paper, which has not been printed yet, and whether this should be a cause for concern or not. Just let us know on 0560800,000 and on Facebook, Joy News on TV, Twitter as well at JN Interactive GH. Yeah, it's election season. The nurses are on strike and STC is back with a bang. Normally the STC Intercity bus line is in the news and not for the good reasons. Currently, it's in for quite an encouraging one. Recently the president commissioned 50 new Marco Polo buses to help reinvigorate the STC Intercity bus line. And, I've seen the footage. I went on the website. You can pre-book your routes and everything. Plus, the buses boast, among other things, Wi-Fi service for the techno-savvy traveler. But it is STC, and there have been a lot of people who've had their experiences with STC. Personally, I've had a couple of really negative ones. But don't let my negative experience bias you. Considering what was done in the past and what is happening right now with the bus line, would you go try another route with the STC bus line? Checked it out on Facebook. Let's hear what you have to say on it. Prince Baumia is back, says this is not our first time of seeing new commissioned buses. We've seen the Kufuor buses, and therefore the president should rather find a panacea to the plight of unemployed graduate nurses and the newly recruited trainee teachers. And Richmond is just saying, thank God STC is back. So if that's also how you feel about the STC Intercity bus line, let us know on Facebook and on WhatsApp as well. A couple of your more messages rather, coming in on WhatsApp saying election year and the government is busy trying to trick the electorate. Trick them how? You did not explain. Ghana. Well, what is happening? The Ghana nursing trainees are also struggling because they're still in-house where there's lack of staff in various hospitals. Clearly, the plight of the nursing trainees very dear on your heart. And another one here, well, from 14th November, government nurses all over the country will lay down their tools, and for even worse reasons, as told by the Accra psychiatric nurses. Now, the psychiatric nurses should save their energy because they are not a government priority. That's your opinion. Now, if you've forgotten, the president said he does not fear strikes. So all they have to do is vote for the president of their choice. And on the runaway bride, another one which is bringing in a lot of comments. The whole drama of the lady suggests that the two were not compatible from the onset. The reality of infatuation has dawned on them, and the couple must live with the reality. It's better to abruptly end something that could possibly end your life in future. What the lady did might seem weird, but it's life-saving. And that's from Yakubu Ibn Chambers from Wale Wale. Wow, we're still definitely interacting here on Joy News Interactive. And that's how we're wrapping up Joy News Interactive this morning. Thank you so much for your time, for your company, and for your comments as well. Do stay on the Joy News channel for more great programs. I'm Jennifer. Have a nice day.